Hi, I am Rhea Templanza, and today we are going to show you what is simple interest and on how to solve it. But first, what is simple interest?
Hi, I'm Althea Mae Hermogeno, and for today we will talk about simple interest. So what does simple interest means? Simple interest refers to the interest earned when a loan or investment is repaid in a lump sum. Lump sum basically just means an amount of money paid at all once. Interest means the payment or the cost to borrow money. To explain this in a clearer way, interest refers to the tubo sa utang or in a loan. To remember the formulas of simple interest, you just have to memorize this drawing. This represents the formula on getting interest, principal, rate, and time. Now I will teach you on how to get interest with this example. Find the interest within a 1-year loan of 20,000 pesos at a 7% rate. The first step would be identifying the principal, rate, and time. The principal would be the 20,000 pesos because it is the borrowed money, 7% for the rate, and 1 year for the time. But wait, we have to transform the rate into its decimal form. So this will be 0.07. Next is we have to substitute it with its formula. So principal would be 20,000 times rate 0.07 and times time 1. So if we will gonna multiply these three, the answer would be 1,400. So the interest in this problem is this, 1,400. But what if the problem is getting the rate?
Hi, I'm Gabitanan and I will show you how to solve if the problem was getting the rate. What is rate? Rate is the percent of the principal as interest per time period. Always remember that rate is in decimal form. The formula of solving the rate is rate equals interest over principal times time. To understand more about rate, let's take a look at this example. Sarah Jhean got a 100,000 pesos loan for 10 years. She paid 50 pesos in interest. What was the interest rate? To easily solve the interest rate, let's write down the given. The principal is 100,000, the time is 10, the interest is 50. What is the rate? To solve the rate, we will use the formula. Rate equals interest over principal times time. Then substitute. And then it would be 50 over 100,000 times 10. 100,000 times 10 equals 1 million. Then divide 50 over 1 million. The answer would be 0.0005. Then move 2 decimal places. 1, 2. The answer would be 0.05%. So the interest rate was 0.05%. And that's how to solve rate. But what if our problem was finding the principal?
Hi, I'm Pauline Gile, and for today we will talk about principal. But before we discuss how to get the principal, let's first define what the term principal means. Principal is the sum of money invested or borrowed before interest or other revenue is added, or the remainder of that sum after payments have been made. In Tagalog, this is what we call utang, or the amount of money na inutang. When we want to quickly recall the formula in getting the principal, we just have to use the formula circle that was discussed earlier by Althea Mae Hermogeno. And this formula circle contains letter I that stands for interest, letter P that stands for principal, letter R that stands for rate, and letter T that stands for time. And based on the formula circle, that when we want to get the principal or when the principal is missing, we just have to cover the letter P that stands for principal, and this means that we have to divide interest over rate multiplied by time. So interest over rate multiplied by time. So this is the formula that we have to use when we want to get the principal. For better understanding, here's an example. So in our example, it is stated that when invested at an annual interest rate of 7%, the amount earned 11,200 of simple interest in 2 years. How much money was originally invested? So for us to easily get or find the principal, we have first to look for the following given in our problem. So in our example, we have the given 11,200, which is the interest, and we have the 7%, which is of course the rate, 7% or 0.07 when converted into decimal, and we have the 2 years, which is the time. So here are the following given in our problem. Now, what is the formula that we're going to use? The formula that we're going to use is the P is equal to interest over rate multiplied by time. And now that we have the given and we have the formula, let's now solve for the principal. So first thing to do is to distribute the following given. So for interest, we have to write the 11,200 over the rate, which is 0.07 when we converted it into decimal, multiplied by 2, which is the time is, because the time is 2 years. So after we distributed the following given, next thing to do is to multiply the rate and the time, which is 0.07 multiplied by 2, that represent 2 years. So let's just rewrite this 11,200. Then when we multiply 0.07 multiplied by 2, we will get the answer 0.14. After that, we have to divide the 11,200 to 0.14 and we will get the answer 80,000. So now we have the principal. And that's how you get the principal. But what if the problem is getting the time?
Hi, I'm Mekaila Maglaqui, and now that we've come to the last part, we will be solving for the time. But first, what is time? Time is the number of days, months, or years that the money is borrowed or invested. And for the formula of time, we have time is equals to interest over principal times rate. Now that we know the definition and the formula of the time, let's try to solve the problem. Vinny borrowed 10,000 pesos at 2% and paid 400 pesos in interest. What was the length of the loan? For easier understanding, you can write the given first. Principal is 10,000, interest is 400, rate is 2% or 0.02. And of course, the formula would be time is equals to interest over principal times rate. Now substitute it. Time is equals to 400 over 10,000 times 0.02. Now multiply the 10,000 and the 0.02 and the answer would be 2. Now you can solve a time.
And now, let's talk about maturity value. So what does maturity value means? It simply means the sum of the principal plus the interest. That is the maturity value or the final value of the given simple interest. So here are the possible formulas that we can use in order for us to determine the maturity value or in order for us to solve for the maturity value of the given problem. And it is maturity value is equal to the principal amount multiplied by the quantity of 1 plus the product of rate times time, or can be as simple as maturity value is equal to principal amount plus interest. Now, let's identify the steps in solving for the maturity value by giving an example. So here's the problem. Sophia makes an investment by lending 24,000 pesos to Judy for 2 years, an interest rate of 11% per annum. What is the maturity value of the investment? First one, identify the given and identify the formula to be used. What are the given? We have the principal amount of 24,000 pesos. And we have the interest rate of 11% or 0.11. We have the time that is 2 years. And we're looking for the maturity value or the final or total value. So these are the given based on the problem. After that, let's identify the formula that we're going to use, and that is maturity value is equal to the principal amount multiplied by the quantity of 1 plus the product of rate and time. Since we already have the given and we have the formula, let's now substitute the given on the given formula. So that means that maturity value is equal to 24,000 multiplied by the quantity of 1 plus the product of 0.11 multiplied by 2. Let's now multiply 0.11 by 2 and the answer is 0.22. So 1 plus 0.22. Then we need to add 1 and 0.22. The answer is 1.22. Then find the product of 24,000 and 1.22 and we will have the maturity value or the final value, and that is 29,280 pesos. And that's how you get the maturity value. Bonus info! If you want to know how much interest is in the given maturity value, you'll just have to subtract the principal amount to the maturity value. And we will come up with the formula interest is equal to the maturity value minus the principal amount. Now, let's try it with our given example. So we will have interest is equal to 29,280 pesos minus 24,000 pesos. And we will have the interest of 5,280 pesos. And that's how you get the interest from the given maturity value.
Now that we are done, I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot about simple interest.